When you open up your favorite app or turn on a show after a long day, what are you really looking for? Information, an escape, connection, comfort? Well, according to uses and gratification theory, we don't use media passively. We choose it on purpose. And that purpose might be to meet a psychological or social need. Welcome back to Communication Campus. I'm your host, Dr. Malynnda Stewart. And in today's episode, we are exploring uses and gratification theory, one of the most audience-centered approaches in media research. And it helps us understand why people use different forms of media and what they're hoping to get out of it. Now, in the mid-20th century, most communication theorists treated audiences as passive, easily influenced by the powerful media messages. But researchers such as Katz or Blumler or Gurevitch flipped that idea. They argued that audiences are active participants. They seek out media to satisfy specific needs and desires. So instead of asking, what does media do to people? They asked, what do people do with media? Now, uses and gratifications rests on 5 core assumptions. First, active audiences. That's got to be key. So here, media users make conscious choices based on goals. Next, we have goal-oriented mediated use. And this is where we understand that people use media to satisfy specific needs. Third, media compete for gratifications. Audiences choose among a myriad of options to meet the needs that they have. 4, we have to be aware of self-awareness. Users can report their motivations and satisfaction. Then finally, we have social and psychological needs. Media use is tied to both personal and social contexts. So basically, we're all using media in different ways, and we are all media consumers with agency, even if we don't always realize what drives those habits. Now, researchers have identified several categories for the types of gratifications that we seek. In some cases, we're seeking information. We look at news, educational videos, documentaries, masterclasses. We also look at using media for our personal identity. We might want to look for inspirational stories, influencers, or lifestyle content. We also have a gratification type called integration and social interaction. This is going to include our social media, our fan communities, and podcasts. We also have, obviously, our entertainment and escapism. So streaming shows, games, listening to music. And finally, we have tension release. We might watch a comedy show, listen to ASMR, or some type of relaxation content to help us ease away from the tensions of the day. So when you binge a show, scroll Instagram, or listen to true crime podcasts, my personal favorite, you're not just consuming, you're fulfilling your needs. Now, uses and gratification theory is far more relevant now in the digital era than it really ever was. Today, we curate our own media diets. We choose from endless platforms to satisfy different needs. So, for example, we have TikTok and social interaction. We have Facebook and LinkedIn for our personal identity and self-presentation. We have Reddit or Discord that offers community and senses of belonging. And of course, we have YouTube and podcasts for information and sometimes companionship. Researchers now use uses and gratification theory to study everything from binge watching to parasocial relationships to even political participation online. Well, that's about it for this theory. So to sum it up, uses and gratifications puts you, the audience, in control. Media use is active, goal-driven, and meaningful. And every click, stream, or scroll reflects what we value and need in that moment. Thank you for joining me in this episode of Communication Campus. In our next session, we're going to explore yet another theory that explains how media exposure shapes our senses of reality. Until then, remember, media doesn't just use you use it to meet your needs, to tell your story, and to make meaning. I'll see you next time, and until then, keep communicating.